Runs kindly for Morrison. It's Cal Morrison! Just listen to this, please! Spencer takes over. It's Brad Spencer! It's in the back of the net! There's Donaldson driving forward. Cole Donaldson! That is simply ridiculous! There's Tom Lang! Oh my word! Unbelievable! Phenomenal! Incredible! Invincible!
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall and the Falkirk football fans in training.
Right, so I didn't write this intro for this week because there's one of us who's a big Strictly fan, so here we go. The Strictly Come Dancing message, which was live from Blackpool, was to keep dancing, and that's just what we need to do next week as we hope to bounce back from yesterday's defeat on the dance floor as we face Queen's Park at Hampden. What is that? Jesus. Hello, I am John McInally and welcome to Falkirk Daft, and the Claudia Winkleman to my Tess is the ginger god of bod himself, the one-man band in the main stand. It's Ross Wayne.
Good morning, buddy. Good morning. Listen,
I'm probably more Claudia than Tess. You're probably more Tess and I'm probably more Claudia.
Yeah, I'm alright with it. I'm alright. How annoying is Claudia Winkleman's fringe, though?
I was just about to say that. I don't know why it infuriates. It's very shiny, though.
See, the thing is, she must go through life just like looking like through her like fringe. Anyway,
how was Black? Well, we don't talk about the football. How was Strictly last night?
It was good. Yeah, it was good. Watched it when we got back in, and yeah, not too shabby at all. Can be a bit of sequence, bit of dancing at Blackpool. So there
maybe at the next Falkirk Daft Live we should do a dance performance. Remember we obviously did Don't Go Breaking My Heart the last Falkirk Daft. Perhaps we should do the rumba at the next Falkirk Daft Live.
There's a sight, eh? There's a sight.
Two grown men doing the rumba to each other.
It's just what this woke society needs, I think.
Absolutely. And I have to say, if you're watching this episode of Falkirk Daft, you will notice that I have a ridiculous mustache. Now, the reason I have this ridiculous mustache is because a couple of episodes ago, Ross said he was doing Movember. I said, do you know what, buddy? I'll jump on board with you. I'll be your Mo bro. And so there we go. There's the tash there.
I think it's looking good. You got a little bit of stick yesterday.
Oh, I got a lot of stick yesterday. I'm looking like a World War II Spitfire pilot. So just call me, like I said.
I don't think that was the only World War II reference it was made.
Well, there was another World War II reference. But what I'm very disappointed in, now this has been talked about so many times yesterday, is that my Mo bro has basically just grown back his facial hair as it was before he shaved it off.
I've not seen you said this.
And now here he goes. He's going to go. There's a gap. There's a gap. There's a gap.
It's not a goatee if there's a gap between the mustache.
Get rid of that bit at the bottom.
Right, I tell you what. See, as soon as we're off, I am going to go and shave the goatee bit at the bottom. Right, I'll go and do that. However, I've not just went because I've not got a beard. Like normally I have a beard, don't I? So I've not got a beard. Anyway. But I will, just for the snowflakes amongst us, I will go. I will go and shave off the little bottom part of my beard.
Good, because I'm feeling like an absolute tube. And we'll talk about that just in a minute.
You make a request though. See, for next week, you're obviously doing your charity night.
Oh, I forgot that.
Fully clean shaven, and then just the tash.
I'll do that.
A bit more Ned Flanders esque about
it. So if you are coming along to the night at the Lee Park next week with Gordon Dale and Mark Wilson, I will have a full tash. I know I'm going to get absolutely pillared by everyone for it, but hey ho, I agreed to do it, but you need to do the same, Ross. I want a proper tash.
I thought it was a fan, but I will shave off the little bit at the bottom if that's
absolutely not. Yeah. Anyway, we're just kind of dancing about, not talking about the football. Hey. We were obviously went to the Livingston game yesterday, and we're going to get into that with our guest pundit just in a bit. But it was a good day, wasn't it? It was a good day.
Yeah, it was all aside. It was a good afternoon with good pals as always, and we met loads of folk who listened or watched the podcast and Behind the Wall and at the game as well, which was great. So, I know we say this all the time, but we genuinely appreciate everybody who watches and listens, and it's brilliant when they'll shout out or give us a say hi at the games and stuff as well. So brilliant.
Exactly. So thank you very much for that. So we were doing our vlog yesterday. We promised it So me and Ross kind of did a combined vlog yesterday, and we're actually going to speak to a professional vlogger, Spider, who's been to a lot of the Falkirk games. He's going to come on, and maybe he can give us some tips. But, you know, we're going to talk about the game just in a minute. But right now, here's our vlog. It's the Falkirk Daft vlog. It's our attempt to become one of those YouTube influencer type people. Hello, it's match day. It's Livingston versus Falkirk. At this point, there should be like badges are popping up in the stream somewhere. We'll try putting that in. But yeah, this is how match day starts for me. We walk across the golf course. No golfers on it at the moment. And then down to Davy Love's, pick up the morning rolls, and then pub. Then the match itself. 9 points potentially could separate teams by the end of the day, or can Livingston claw it back to 3 points? We'll wait and see. But yeah, walk down to Love's, get the morning rolls, rolling sausage, and then up to the pub.
Good morning, everybody. Falkirk away to Livy today. Through at Livingston. Let's do this. Come on, Bairns.
So this is how we get to the game on match day. And I am feeling like a fanny because I've just ran thinking it was the Edinburgh train, but it was actually the Glasgow train. So fanny number one, fanny number two, look at this mustache, which I'm doing because of Ross Wayne. I look like a World War II Spitfire pilot, so Captain Johnny right here. And part three of being a fanny is I'm talking to a fucking camera on a busy rail platform. Anyway, about to jump on the train, up to behind the wall. Will we get it for free though? Will we get Larbert to Falkirk Graveston for free? That's the big question.
Early contender for Falkirk Daft of the week, John McNally, running from the train, only come to the station and realise it's the wrong one. What a fan.
Falkirk Daft sponsors Behind the Wall for a pre-match beverage.
Yes, get it up, you ScotRail, got up for free, forgot the rugby was on, so the train was busy, so no conductor. On the Bairns! Look who I've bumped into him behind the wall, it's Ross Wayne from Falkirk Daft. Hello. Look, he's got his first taste of the Falkirk Daft Venom. Ross, you've not tasted this before. Give it a good gulp and give us your verdict.
It's like a slushy, which is worrying. This is good though. That's really nice. Really nice.
He's liking it. He's liking it. Can I just point out as well that Ross Wayne has not got a stupid moustache like me, and he's just got his normal facial hair. I look like a fanny. I look like a
normally have a beard.
Anyway, I'll do that thing. Go and hit the camera from that way so you can do that thing. What are you going for today, Gary?
I'll go for 2-0.
2-0. Who's scored? Who's scored?
Ooh, good one. Do you know what? Brad Spencer again, and we'll go for FFIT T8s.
Right, what's your prediction for the score today?
2-1 in Falkirk.
2-1 Falkirk, brilliant. What's the score going to be today?
2-1 in Falkirk.
Scorers?
Ross and Miller.
Right, here we are in the stadium now. John, what's the score going to be?
1-0 Falkirk.
2-0. 1-1.
Final prediction, going to go 3-1 Falkirk's going to stick with it. I think this will be a massive marker today, and pretty confident we're going to do it. Fingers crossed.
I'm doing my vlog, man, I'm doing my vlog! Ross, what's the half-time verdict?
Pretty poor, ref's been awful. It's sucked into Livy's long ball game, to be honest, which I'm not really sure why. So I think John needs to have a chat with the boys at half time, get the ball in the day, do what we do best, and try and get the first goal back.
So, game's done, only one thing for it, back to behind the wall, discuss how shite we were.
What do you make of the game today?
I thought we played right into their hands by launching it constantly. Long diagonals it's not the way we've been playing all season. I've no idea why we've done it today, so I'm putting it on the players, not McGlynn.
Absolutely same. I mean, we always play it from the back, we play it in the middle, we were getting bullied, we played the same way for 90 minutes, it didn't work.
Alan, what do you think of the game today?
I was very disappointed today, to be honest with you. I thought we got drawn into a game that we didn't really want to play, and they tried a lot of the dark arts as well in terms of time wasting and things like that. It's typical Livingston for years gone by, but we've got 2 other games against Livy, and I'm quite confident that we'll take points off them before the end of the season.
Stick your vlog up your arse.
So a couple of post-match drinks at Behind the Wall, and then we're up the road to watch the highlights tonight. I don't really want to watch the highlights though, it was a terrible game. Just got sucked into Livy's game. The referee was terrible, and I'm still looking like a fanny with my mustache, and also the fact I'm walking along the road talking to myself. How do these YouTubers go do it? Anyway, I think that's enough vlogging. I think we've tried it, but I'm not having it. Anyway, expect the unexpected. Bairns on at Queen's Park. Fingers crossed for a Bairns win. See you later.
I don't think Sam North or Blair McNally or even Spider, who we're going to talk to a bit later on, have anything to worry about, Ross.
No, they don't at all.
Never again.
It was fine before and after the game because you can talk quite freely there. But see, during it, fair play to the guys that talk all the way through, like matches and stuff, and catch goals and catch moments and stuff, because that must be really quite difficult. Like I tried to get my phone out yesterday, but like between the annoyance of how we were playing and the lack of real chances, it was like a bit of a struggle to actually capture anything.
I know. I kept forgetting to do it as well. That was I mean, obviously these guys do it week in, week out, but I just kept going. I was chatting to someone. I thought it would have been quite good for the vlog. I was chatting to a couple of Livy supporters in the bar beforehand. I was like, I forgot to film it. And you keep forgetting to film bits and bobs. So, but that was our attempt. I hope you enjoyed it. I don't think we'll be doing many more after that. But there we go. Listen, let's charge into birthday corner, shall we? Shout out from Derek Steele as Jimmy to Jimmy Miller. Sorry, we're doing shout outs and birthday corners combined now. I'm sorry, I didn't realise that, Ross.
Yes, we've got a shout out firstly before the birthdays to Jimmy Miller. Loads of big, massive Falkirk fan. Loads of Bairns fans will know old Jimmy. He's not keeping too well at all just now. I think he's over at Larbert because Steely's been going over to see him. But just a wee shout out to Jimmy. Get well soon, hopefully, and all the Bairns fans that know you are thinking about your son.
Yeah, God, I didn't realise that Jimmy was although I did see Rob Fleming. When a well-Kent face around Falkirk, he dropped us a message as well, so get well soon, Jimmy. Let's charge into birthday corner though, and Tommy Monument's been in touch, says a wee call out for my birthday, which is on Monday the 18th, so no one else is going to do it for him. Tom says he'll be 65, so he's still supporting the mighty Bairns, 5 stone heavier and a head of hair lighter. So happy birthday, Tom, on Monday.
Tom. Absolutely. We've got another Tom as well, Tom Robertson. So happy 19th birthday from his dad, David. David's another well-Kent face around the stadium too in the KM. But yeah, Tom's 19. I think he's at St Andrews University, so he's doing well for himself as well. But hopefully he has a fantastic birthday this week as well.
Yeah, and Billy Martin says thank you. He gave us a behind the wall voucher as a thank you for the podcast live and raising money for Maggie. So thank you very much, Billy. We really appreciated that, and we put it to good use yesterday. As you will see on the vlog that we've just played out, Ross sampled the Falkirk Daft Venom. So we had a couple of Falkirk Daft Venoms yesterday before the match, and we probably need more after the match as well, to be honest with you. But thank you so much, Billy. It was a really, really kind offer, and we thank you very much for that. I've got to say a big happy birthday as well before we leave birthday corner to Alex Haxton, Andy, who we've had on the podcast before, drums in the band Parliamo, who are playing a gig. I'll plug this just now at St Luke's on the 30th of November. That's St Andrews night. So get along to that gig. I'm going to go on with the wife and see the bands because they're brilliant. So Andy and Parliamo playing at St Luke's. But happy birthday, Big Alex, who I've had
Happy
the
birthday,
pleasure
Alex.
of being in the company of several times. We had a moment at the Alloa game where I kind of, when we all jumped on the pitch at full time, I bumped into Andy and Alex, and Andy had smuggled cans onto the pitch, and he gave me one. So there was me, Andy, and Alex on the pitch during the pitch invasion when we went to Municipal against Alloa. A can of tenants. I've got a great picture with the three of us. Brilliant. It was an amazing memory.
The players all had beers on the park anyway, so I'm sure it's fine.
Exactly. So happy birthday, Alex. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Hey, listen, talking about obviously Andy and Parliamo, we've had several. It's turning into the X Factor. In fact, it's almost like Eurovision. We should call it Songs for Falkirk, because several people now have been in touch with us about songs like to sing for the ultras, right? So we're going to kick off with Callum Lang, okay? So he's done one for Adams and Oliver to Bon Jovi, Runaway. I can't even think how Runaway by Bon Jovi goes.
No,
Shannon, I could go run, run away, but how does Runaway by Bon Jovi go?
Let's get it up very quickly.
Right, get it up. We'll be demonetized for playing the song on it, but we can live with that because we don't get money.
Actually, it doesn't look as if it's coming up on Apple.
Runaway by Bon Jovi. I don't even know what that is. Runaway, but Del Shannon, I know. Right, here we go. Right, this is Runaway by Bon Jovi. A very obscure Bon Jovi song. Oh no, it's not. I know this. Right, so this is Runaway by Bon Jovi. Right. Oh, he's running down the wing. Keelan Adams. Right, so it's meant to go. Oh, he's running down the wing. Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Well, I don't know how this is going to scan, but Callum's lyrics is, maybe you can send us a voice note in this one, Callum. Oh, he's running down the wing. Keelan Adams crossing in. Oliver tapping in. And then you repeat that. Oh, he's running down the wing. Keelan Adams crossing it. I think I'll be honest with you, Callum, and my Simon Kill, I think we need a better known Bon Jovi song. I think we need a Living on the Prayer to go for a song. Go back to the You're Not Through to Boot Camp. Go back to the because I just feel that not enough people will know. I'm a big music fan, and I only knew it when I heard it, so I appreciate it. So, oh, he's running down the wing. Keelan Adams crossing in. Oliver tapping in. Maybe you can voice note it and it'll make sense then, right? But we'll leave that one on the shelf just now. But get back in touch with Callum. Brendan has been in touch with us as well. He said, I'm too old for this nonsense, but listening to the podcast out on a dog walk does funny things to a man's head. Here's a new song entry for you. It's to the tune of Ayazu's 80s classic, Only You. Now, do you know that song, Ross?
I do know that one, yes.
Do you want to have a go at this one?
I can, so I apologise in advance. He says, so verse 1, he says, looking from the south stand above, it's like a story of love.
Sing it!
I'm not singing it, fuck's sake. Can't, it's like...
That's tough.
Yeah, that's
tough. Hold on.
It's a banger. This is an 80s classic, isn't it?
Looking from the south stand above,
it's like a story of love. Can you hear me? Yeah, there we go. So then verse 2, in the showers he is the boss, we Leon's up like a horse. Have you seen it? All I'm needing is another goal. Eastern Park is a fucking hole. You're all I ever knew. Navy blue. I think that's fantastic.
That's decent. That is decent. Then chant along in the Flying Picket style. I like it. Davy Brown, another song for Falkirk, for the attention of John. All right. Saw someone else trying to steal my songwriting crown, says Davy. This was Crawford referring back to last week. I don't think the Ultras will pick up on these as probably released well before they were born, although I do hear Status Quo, Boney M and Oasis being sung, so maybe not. So here's the top 5 you might need to practice to get the 4 right in at number. Right, I think we're going to do a couple of Davies. I want to say back some of Davies, and we'll come back to Davy. But we'll go with Temptation by Heaven 17. You're familiar with the song Temptation?
I am. This is like
Never Been Closer.
This is the train spotting song, isn't it? Yeah.
Right, so the chorus is like, higher and higher, temptation. Right, okay, so they went for Davies went straight in with the chorus, so we'll go, all we desire, Henderson, the boy is on fire, Henderson, he's taking us higher, Henderson, you better believe it, Henderson. I like that. I like that a lot. So that Davy Brown, we're going to save the rest of them and we're going to drip them in a song for Falkirk. I see the next Falkirk Daft live. You know what we should do, right? Get all these songs and get them all up on stage, right? Give them tickets to the Falkirk Daft, and we'll have a sing-off. Oh, I love this. I love this idea.
All coming together.
And we'll be like Graham Norton at Eurovision, or like Simon Cowell and all that, and we'll just kind of judge them and get the crowd to... I love this idea. This is happening. A song for Falkirk. All these songs. So Davey, and then finally Crawford. Crawford's the one that's earthed Davey. So Crawford got in touch. Remember I said he had a load of songs last week, and I was just going to filter them in. So we'll do another one for Crawford here, which is done to Belter by Jerry Cinnamon. Very good. Very popular. Right. Ethan's a belter, different from the rest, became a true invincible and really passed the test. We like to see him, cause we all know that he's grand, as he glides on past defenders with his magic Alice band. He is Ethan Ross. Ethan's a belter. Ethan's a belter. That's brilliant, by the way.
That's a good one as well.
That's the winner this week, by the way. Ethan's a belter. That's fantastic. But aye, Falkirk Daft live, the next one. What do you think?
Listen, I'm up for anything. That sounds good.
The Bairns factor.
Bairns factor, aye. There
Bairns factor. Let's make it happen at the next one. Or the F factor probably is better. The F factor.
You could do like a Queen number, because you've got a bit of Freddie Mercury going on there now, aren't you?
Shut up. This is your fault. This is absolutely your fault. Anyway, the F factor. Let's make it happen at the next Falkirk game, and we'll got more songs from Davy Brown next week. And if you want to contribute to this, please do. I'd love to hear your songs. So get them in, drop us a DM, and on our Twitter, on Facebook, and drop us an email if you want, John or Ross at falkirkdaft.co.uk. Got to say thanks to our sponsors, the Falkirk Football Fans in Training. Of course, I think Ian got in touch with me. He said he saw us yesterday, but we didn't. We just must have missed him. But yeah, so Ian and all the boys over at the T8s are supporting each other through football and making memories. Speaking to actually Dougie, another Dougie, we've got Dougie coming on, but another Dougie yesterday who's joined up Super Vets football, which happens at the stadium every Friday between 5 and 6. So Dougie's heard this on the podcast and thought, I'm going to get involved in Super Vets football, and that's happening down there with the T8s and a kind of. Working with the walking football team, strictly over 50s, 8-a-side, but playing old school 5-side rules, happening, like I say, at the stadium between 5 and 6 on a Friday. So get in touch, get involved, speak to Ian, Willie or Dougie, and they will get you involved in the Super Vets football. Or you can just go and join the T8s, like I say, make loads of mates down there at the stadium every Monday 8 to 9 or Tuesday 7:30 to 8:30. So get involved with the boys. It's great chat, and like I say, they're great boys and you'll never be out of hospital. Right, okay, let's get to the news. And I've been waiting for this. Oh my word. Oh God, see yesterday all we heard, anyone that was round them yesterday, all we heard was about the new Heritage top, right? So this was released late, was it midweek, kind of this week? And oh my
Thursday night, I
God,
think
right, I'm going to hand over this whole section to the Gokwan of Falkirk himself, Mr. Ross Wayne. Give us your views on the Heritage top. Now, if you haven't seen it, it's... I think the big criticism is it's like a bit of a Morton top, so it's got light blue. The design, I have to say, and the thought process and everything that's went in behind it, like last year's Heritage top, is brilliant, absolutely fantastic. And you can see all the little design inbuilt into the strip, as we've seen with all the O'Neill's top, that little intricacy of the design, and that's why they're so great as a kit maker. But you're not having this Heritage top, are you, Ross? Give us your critique.
I don't know where to start, John. Honestly, I'm just.
You definitely know where to start. All you did was talk about this yesterday in the pub.
No, I didn't. To be fair, when I was asked the question, or when someone else was talking about it, I chipped in. I know there will have been an awful lot of work went in there, right? Because I know these things take a lot of time and effort and detail. So it's no slight on anyone who's had their hand in it, right? I just don't think this will be a big seller. And that's probably my biggest disappointment, because we sold 6,000 shirts last year. The Heritage shirt from last year was a huge, huge part of that. I just don't think this will sell as well. And for a few reasons. One, I think people will get the story, and I do too. I think the story's lovely. I think it's a worthwhile backstory. I'm not convinced it's needed from the club's perspective. I think we've got a lot of heritage from our club's perspective. I don't really get why we need. This is maybe just me. I don't see why we need to celebrate the canals or the kelpies or the wheel or anything like that, right? But I just don't think it'll be a big seller. The shorts and socks being black, white and red is just mental. The top is obviously, it's a nod to the very first Falkirk kit, right? I actually think if it was maybe smaller hoops or something, it might be better. I don't know, but there's an awful lot of detail in it. I just can't see it selling, which is the biggest disappointment for me. I don't think we'll see hundreds and hundreds of people kicking about in the
I did see a few. I have to say yesterday when I was at the game, and I saw a few people kicking.
People will, but listen, there will always be an element of people buying it, right? But what was interesting yesterday is there was 12 or 13 of us at the game yesterday, and we all talked about it. We all talked about like the fact that that was there, and not one person said they would buy it. And I just think that speaks volumes, and that's the disappointment for me. It's going to cost the club money or sales from it, which is disappointing. And you saw the obviously the immediate reaction online was not great. And that was
I saw you sticking up a wee meme of and you know that one where there's like, oh, tell them that's the heritage top.
I get we want to celebrate Falkirk, but I don't think that was the right. Like, say someone's have had to have signed that off at the board, or I'm sure it's went.
Surely it's a smart idea to go to the supporters, right? Or go to. I know they're all supporters, but maybe maybe go to the ultras, or maybe go to the people that are really going to buy. I mean, it's not targeted. I mean, football strips generally aren't targeted at the likes of our demographic, Ross.
No.
I mean, I only wear them when I'm playing five-a-sides, but for the young team and, all that sort of stuff, they still wear the strips to the game, right? So why not get, like, if they're going into the design process, and I know it's, like, by committee then a wee bit, but at least get a handle, and not everyone's going to agree, but if everyone's unanimously saying, no, I wouldn't buy that, like we saw in our group yesterday, surely it's like, okay, it's maybe I'd take it back to the drawing boards. But just a little consultation with the supporters might help that. And because like you say, what you don't want to happen is that it's costing the club, or, it's, not selling and making the club money. Because we obviously saw last year, the Heritage Top was a banger last year. And
it was. And I genuinely hope they've not made a massive run of these shirts. Do you know what was interesting as well, John? I went online last night because I was on Greaves. There's a couple of bits that I'm looking at, or I'm going to send links to family for Christmas and stuff, right?
Do you do that, Jesus?
Well, listen, I would see if somebody's looking for something to get me a gift, I'd rather they get me something that are like the boxers like banging, the
ball bags.
Anyway, that's it. In terms of the strip though. There's hardly any, like, how normally when they release a new top, like the online option, like it's like sold out.
Yeah.
None of that. So I really hope that they've not invested or ordered too many, because as I say, I could be way off the mark and they'll sell.
Listen, if you love the Heritage Top, the new Heritage Top, come on and argue against Ross on it, because he is very, very angry about it.
I'm not angry about it.
You're just disappointed. I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
Just disappointed. Yeah, I'm disappointed. But I just think it's a bit of an opportunity that I think we've missed.
See back your money for the retro top release then.
Yeah, hopefully that's a good one. Well, there's not too many shirts that they could release from a retro perspective that I don't think would sell, because we've had some brilliant retro shirts over the years as well. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, oh well, there you go. Ross Wayne's verdict on the Heritage Top. So there we have it. If you've not seen it as well this week, the Open Goal did a behind the scenes Stem thing, which was brilliant. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. Because we as supporters love all that behind the scenes stuff. And I thought, I have my criticisms of Open Goal from time to time, but I think it was really, really good. And it was just a great insight into the club. And, unfortunately, Cy Ferry's the assistant manager, obviously, at East Kilbride, so he got because this was done before the cup draw as well, so he obviously got a detailed look at the Falkirk players in training, and obviously East Kilbride had a very good result against Ayr during the week there as well.
He did, yeah. No, going back to the video firstly, I thought it was like you. I love all that kind of behind the scenes stuff, John. It was great to see. They're obviously talking to like that Blair Doughty, the sports scientist. There was a good chat with him. Obviously, they talked to big time Chris McGill, but Keelan Adams was a good chat or two. He did a bit with Big Cole and the rest of the squad as well. So, like, just great to see. And more stuff like that, the better. If I'm being honest. Like I know, like some football clubs will have like media departments that have got like 10 or 12 people in them, and they might be able to do content like that all the time. But that was like a brilliant production by Open Goal, who as you said, we've kind of criticised before at points for various things that they've done or stuff they've done, but that was a belter. So yeah, but no, great to see. I think Cy Ferry, depending on he in terms of that preview to the East Kilbride game, I don't think he'll have got anything that they wouldn't be able to witness in a game, because as John Midland talks about, they practice what they preach. What they work on in training is what you see on a match day. So I'm not overly convinced they'll see it.
We saw it yesterday, mind you, but we'll get into that.
Yeah, maybe we should have played against a hammer thrower team during the week to try and get practice in for that. But I think Cy Ferry and Mick Kennedy, who have got coming on next week, I'm sure they'll be well prepared for Falkirk. But listen, we know how to play against teams that are defensive against us. Maybe they'll come out, and if they do come out, that might actually suit us even better. So we'll see.
And talking on media as well, John McGuinn was on BBC Scotland this week as well doing an interview. Oh, I wish he hadn't.
Listen, that's not why we lost yesterday. That's mental.
No, I know, but like, and listen, the language you used, in fairness, it's like you've got to dream. It was like, we want.
Of course, of course you do.
And of course, we all want to dream, but it's just, for me, it was just like ammunition. I mean, I've had it like from my colleagues on the Big Scottish Football podcast. Can't believe McGlynn's saying this. Like, Ewan and Stephen both came at me with this, and I was like, oh, why did you say that, John? Talking about 4 stands in Europe and top 6 in the Premiership. I'm like, oh.
To be fair, he wasn't talking about it in terms of like, oh, this is happening.
He wasn't.
As you said, he was daring to dream. Right?
Daring to dream.
And listen, there's nothing's been killed by losing to Livingston yesterday. I know we'll talk about it soon, but we will win far more games than Livingston will this year, because they'll drop points through various draws and stuff. We might not even beat Livingston this season, based on the 2 games we've played them this year. I don't think it'll matter. I think we'll still be above them in a league.
There you go. You've heard it here. We'll get into the Livingston game in a bit. A couple of more bits of news. Stirlingshire Cup is happening at Steny on Tuesday, and it's Dumbarton at home a week on Tuesday. £10 and £5 for concession for both games. So get yourself down to Local View on Tuesday. There'll be some. I would suspect you'll see Alfie play, and I suspect the boys that were on the bench on Saturday might get a run out.
Yeah, you never know. Saki,
Tuesday, under 18s. Yeah. Chance to see the likes of Macron and Gaffrey and all these players getting a game in the Stirlingshire Cup. So get yourself on Local View on Tuesday and cheer on the boys there. I'm working till 8, but I think I might be able to get there for the second half, so I'm going to try and do that. Falkirk women, they beat Renfrew ladies. That's great news ahead of the Cup. So they beat them last Sunday, and the player of the match was Fiona Walker. Well done, Fiona. And they are home to Steny today, which is Sunday, so if you won't, by the time you hear this, it'll happen. So fingers crossed they can get one over the local rivals, because they struggled against Steny last season. So fingers crossed they can beat Steny at the stadium today. Look forward to reading about that a bit later on. And we mentioned them. We were in Behind the Wall yesterday for pre-match, getting the bus. By the way, the bus, that's the first time I've been on the bus to an away match. Behind the Wall, brilliant, absolutely fantastic.
Yep.
And it's only, I keep saying this is amazing, it's only £10 apart from Ayr and Greenock, which is £12.50, right? But £10 on the bus, you get there, great bus, fantastic, great crowd on it as well. We had a bit of a laugh on that yesterday. So £10 on the bus, and then you get your free drink when you get back. So you basically, and I didn't realise. I thought it was only limited to like certain drinks, but I got a pint of Guinness, and I went. And he said, "Can I have a pint of Guinness?"
I think it's anything along the back wall.
Yeah.
Upstairs in the house. So, yeah, brilliant. No, it was well organised, cracking bus, brand new bus as well, by the looks of it. And yeah, no, really, really good. So, for people who've got away games coming up, get yourself booked in, especially for the Queen's Park. I don't know if they're running a bus to East Kilbride just because of the ticket situation, but yeah, if you're looking for a bus to get to Hampden next Friday, get in touch with Scott behind the bar.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can also get in touch through the website behindthewall.co.uk, where you can see all the great entertainment that's coming up and buy gift vouchers for Christmas. And again, thank you very much to Billy who bought us our gift voucher yesterday. We used that, no problem, at the bar, buying lots of Falkirk Venoms. But yeah, the Chain are playing there 29th November. That's a Fleetwood Mac tribute. And then Glasgow Da Live is happening on 30th November. Up at Behind the Wall, so get yourself down there as well. Right, okay, we'll go to here right now. We've played our vlog out, but let's hear from a proper vlogger now, and we'll get some tips, Ross. It's Spider.
All right, cheers for having me.
Not a problem, good to have you on.
Right, so we realised we did our own vlog yesterday, Spider, right, and we realised how much hard work it is, and that'll be the first and last time we do it, right? What made you get into vlogging?
Well, I was just sitting watching YouTube on my telly when I was bored one day coming in from school, watching Blair McNally.
Oh, yeah.
LMC vlogs, and I just said, you know what? I don't like sitting in all day. So I just thought I'd go to a game. I went to my first game was Albion Rovers, and I loved it. So I just kept going to all the games.
So who do you support yourself, Spider? Is it Celtic or Rangers or...?
I've got a Celtic season ticket. I've had it since I was born.
Oh, amazing. So, but I guess, I mean, Celtic play, on Sundays quite a bit as well, so I guess that gives you the chance to go other games, aye?
Aye.
Why did you choose to go to you've been to a lot of Falkirk games, why has that been?
I went to Dunfermline away, but I was in the Dunfermline end, and the atmosphere, oh my God, it was something I wasn't expecting. So I just went to Falkirk Hearts. It was my first ever game at the Falkirk Stadium. The atmosphere there was wild as well. So I just kept going. And then the support all the Falkirk fans have been giving me. My views have just been skyrocketing. It's been brilliant.
Fantastic.
I remember watching that Dunfermline one because obviously the benefit of you being in the Dunfermline end, apart from the fact that you could hear all the tears and see all the tears and snotters around you, was the fact that obviously when Falkirk scored twice, the limbs was absolutely brilliant.
It was, and Jack was singing Falkirk songs in Dunfermline.
Jesus God Almighty! You boys have got a death wish. So what's been your favourite game so far? Was it the Dunfermline Falkirk game, Spider?
It was Falkirk Dunfermline at the Falkirk Stadium just a couple of weeks ago.
Aye.
Was the supporter liaison officer gave us brilliant access.
Brilliant.
Kevin
Beattie.
He let us interview Aidan Nesbitt. He let us meet Calvin Miller, Tom Lang, Sean Mackey. Let us interview all of them, and then we were able to go next to the pitch and with the ultras. Our day was brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant. The ultras seem to have taken you under their wing as well, Spider.
I know, we were with them yesterday, and it was brilliant.
And what happened? Is there a story to tell as well after yesterday's game against Livy?
Yesterday, me, Jack, were waiting at the bus stop. We had a scarf on, the silk scarf, but it wasn't what a members ultras one. And then about 15 Livingston ultras came up to us, and they were like, "Are you Falkirk?" And then we said, "No, we're from Glasgow." And he was like, "Give me your silk." And it was like pure getting in our faces. And then all 15 of them came up saying, "Give your silk." So Jack just gave them it.
That's really poor that's happened after the game, and it. So I saw there was a couple of bits on social media last night about some of the Livingston young guys. I don't think I don't like, unlike our ultras who seem to be like proper in with the club. And what I mean by that is there's a brilliant relationship there. The vibe I get from Livingston is they don't have a good vibe with their sort of younger crowds due to issues that's happening in and out the ground, Spider.
Aye, that's That's correct. I was talking to people at Livy who support them. You might know Murray's Pie Review on TikTok.
Right.
All right, aye.
He doesn't like ultras, they told me, because they just cause a lot of trouble at the club.
Is that right?
Which isn't going to help them at all. Which isn't going to help their
Community
credibility.
club as well.
But as long as you're all right, Murray, and I think you've probably seen for the videos and the games and stuff that you've been at, the Falkirk fans are brilliant, and you'll never get any nonsense from that side, you know.
I was gutted I missed the Celtic game. I was in Turkey, and I was gutted I missed it, because that was but the teams is brilliant.
I know, brilliant. Spider, you got any way we started doing what's your top tip for vlogging? Because me and Ross tried it yesterday. We'll show you. You can check out our video when this podcast goes up. You can give us your verdict. But what's your top tips for vlogging?
It's quite tough, because I need a bit of tips myself. Probably confidence is the key. Just put your face in the camera. Confidence.
Aye.
That's true, actually, because see, when John and I first did our little bit yesterday morning as like a prequel to going to the pub and stuff, that was the nerve-wracking bit, because you're like, because we do this, but we're not really, like, we're recording, obviously, but it's different when you're doing it with your phone and you're walking and you're talking and stuff.
Spider, I have to say, I felt like a proper fanny. Doing it, I'd like walking about. I don't know how you do it. Like walking about with the camera like that, going, "Yeah, we're on our way to the game" and all this sort of chat. I can't do it.
Aye, it's tough.
Brilliant. Well, listen, you and Jack are doing a cracking job, and we really appreciate that you've come to a lot of Falkirk games. A lot of love for you from the Falkirk support as well, pal.
Cheers.
What age are you? Is it 50? Is it you 15?
14, turning 15 in December.
Oh wow, brilliant. See, you're going out and doing that sort of stuff. So hopefully, if you don't follow Spider on YouTube, give us your deets.
I don't know what you mean by that, to be fair.
So, sorry, give us the details. Where can we like and subscribe, as all you YouTubers say? Like and subscribe. Where can we find you?
You can find me on YouTube at SpiderTaylor62. You can find me on Twitter at SpiderTaylor62. Just any social, SpiderTaylor62.
Brilliant.
Spider Taylor 62. Get them followed. Like and subscribe, guys. Like and subscribe. Links are below. And look, there's your pal just coming in at the last minute with the last kick of the ball. Jack's just come into the Jack, where have you been? You're 10 minutes late, son.
Shower and getting ready.
Getting out. I had to look good for the camera. So we've asked Spider all the questions. What's your favourite game been, Jack?
Favourite game? It's definitely been Thistle away. Thistle away has been brilliant. Even though we did draw one each, man, it was brilliant. The atmosphere was so good, and it was dead good, man. Some laugh as well.
Do you know what I liked there as well, Ross? Did you notice that we drew one each? Do you notice that? We're swaying the Glasgow boys over to come and join the dark side over in Falkirk. Love that. And we asked Spider this, Jack. What's your top tip to being a vlogger? Because we've just done one and it's pure shite.
Oh, top tip to be a vlogger? Ask him. I'm not the vlogger. I'm just these
psychic
confidence.
You're the Robin to Spider's Batman, aye.
He's Batman. I'm Robin. So. But top tips definitely got to be confidence, man. You got to put yourself out there and ask people questions and all that. So definitely got to be confidence.
Brilliant, superb. Well, boys, listen, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. Really appreciate your time. We'll see you at the next game. All right.
See you later.
Have a good one.
There you go. Tips on how to do it, Ross. Thanks very much to Spider for coming on. Falkirk Daft, really appreciate that. But we've got his opinion on the game. But let's get our opinion and our guest pundit's opinion on the game as we speak to Dougie Manson.
How you doing, guys? All right?
Yep, good. Loving the t-shirt, son. Loving the t-shirt.
Yep.
Wearing it for you, especially Ross.
There you go. If you're listening to this, Dougie is wearing a Falkirk Daft t-shirt which got from Pie and Prince, which you can get, of course, the t-shirt that Dougie is currently wearing, and also the Falkirk 316 in ode to Stone Cold Steve Austin. You can get that at Pie and Prince. Why am I saying Pie and Prince? What am I talking about? Pie and Prince. Pints and Prince.
Pints and Prince, yeah.
Pints and Prince. Chap up Gordon, get onto the website and you can get your very own Falkirk Daft based t-shirts. Dougie, how are you?
I'm not too bad. Tired, busy weekend. Hampden Friday night. We might have this football yesterday, and obviously Livingston yesterday afternoon, so a bit tired, but not too bad.
Yeah, well, we're getting the stats here from Ross. So you've been on before, and we got beat off Airdrie 4-0, and that was back in 2022. So you're a bit of a jinx, Dougie, because you're back on here talking about a Falkirk defeat as well.
Different teams, majorly different teams. You know what I mean? We can't. I'm not talking about that Airdrie game. I'm talking about obviously total different teams,
Don't worry,
different club as well.
Absolutely not. Well, listen, we've heard your backstory, Dougie, but let's find out how are we phrasing this? Because we had Mrs. Campbell who got a better. Who is the most disappointing player you've seen in the navy blue?
Right, there's an abundance of players I could go for, especially in recent times. But I'm going to go for somebody who costs us money, who's absolutely cack and could knock over with a feather. John Stewart.
See, as soon as you said knock over with a feather, I knew where you were going with that as well.
Dougie paid 50 grand for him, and he was absolute cack. He really was absolute terrible.
He really was. Did I ever tell you the story about him DMing me on Messenger one year?
No.
This was like years ago.
Well, you're using them.
I had passed a comment on Facebook. However, what I didn't know was that a mutual friend was related to John Stewart, and he saw it. And I think I called him Stepto because that was a bit of a nickname for him at the time. And I got this DM, which was a massive drunken rant about how he wanted to meet me in some pub in Airdrie for a fight.
I'd have taken him up on his offer. You could have blown him over.
Mate, honestly, I think I replied something like, "Just be careful, son. Watch yourself."
Wow.
But I remember sending a screenshot to the mutual friend at the time, and he just laughed and says, "Oh, I wouldn't worry about it." I went, "I'm not."
There you go. Ross versus John Stewart. What a battle that would be. The Battle of the Gingers.
That's it.
Well, that's another one for Falkirk Daft Live. Maybe we'll invite him on. We could have some sort of boxing match like Tyson, Jake Paul and Mike Tyson the other night there. Celebrity boxing. Ross Wayne versus John Stewart.
It would be very
one-sided. I wouldn't sell tickets.
It would be
I wouldn't even buy a ticket for that.
Very
I'd be wanting you to pay me to go and see that.
Brilliant. Well, let's talk about Livingston yesterday then, gents, if we have to. Only change we saw was Ross McKeever coming in for Gary Oliver. Now, I want to talk about that in a bit, but I've just heard John McGuinn's interview saying that Gary had a sickness bug during the week, and that's why he didn't play. Because for me, that completely disrupted our game yesterday. I'll talk about why just in a bit. But happy days. 2,500 Falkirk fans and making it along yesterday, which was brilliant. Looked great. You could see the picture on behind me of just the crowd that made it along. So that was a brilliant support. Unfortunately, the football let it down a wee bit. Good to see Sean Mackey back on the bench as well, Ross.
It was, yeah, good to see him back. Hopefully he is pushing for a start soon, because obviously he is just back, so he's probably not up to full fitness. Might see him maybe midweek against Dennismuir in the Stirlingshire Cup potentially. But yeah, no, great to see him back in the matchday squad. Like you, obviously we were a bit surprised that Gary Oliver wasn't starting. However, now that we know about the sickness bug, that obviously makes sense. And you would bring Ross back in as his replacement.
I mean, John talked about using Ross's physicality against Livingston, who we all know and were proven yesterday yet again how physical a team they are. But I think it just gave us an excuse to drop into their game. We'll talk about that in a bit. But I mean, when you look back at the game, I was watching Falkirk TV. Jesus, the chances were few and far between. The fact that Falkirk TV were showing it's a Sean Kelly corner, which missed everyone. And I know Michael Nottingham across, so it just dribbled across the front of the goal. Just shows how many chances there were in the games. And the keepers, Dougie, really didn't have much to do yesterday.
No, they didn't. I actually looked at the stats just before I came on here to see for definite. We had one shot on target. One shot, and I think that was from Dylan Tate.
That was Dylan Tate from the throw-in, yeah.
They had 2 shots on target. So the games were basically played between 18-yard boxes. You can see why they don't concede goals. They're a big, strong, physical side, especially defensively. So you can see why they don't concede goals. But it wasn't the greatest of games.
they were big and physical, Ross, and let's talk about it. We just got sucked into the Livingston game, didn't we?
We did, and I don't think we matched them at all in terms of that how they were.
If we get sucked in, they're going to win that. If we get sucked down to their level in their game, they're going to win that battle all the time because we're just not big and physical enough.
Yeah, no, it's true. They got it spot on.
Martindale again has nailed it. Martin, in terms of his tactics, he came to the Falkirk Stadium. It was very similar. I mean, I would not have been surprised if that had been a 0-0 again yesterday, and it probably should have been, apart from that moment of magic, I guess, from Tete.
Yeah, I would have said a draw was probably a fair result. But listen, they chased us down. They didn't let us play. We kind of got dragged into a style of play that we're not familiar with, which is what they do. Listen, we could go on about the playing surface. We could go on about the ref, who was tragic, by the way. But the ref and the pitch is not why we lost the game yesterday. We lost the midfield battle, and we didn't do enough of the ball when we had it. So it's a tough one to take because had we won, as we know, it would have created a massive gap. It's not. But listen, we're still top of the league, 3 points in front of them. It's November. Even if we'd went 9 points in front, the season wasn't done anyway. So it's not changed anything from that. But I genuinely think Livingston, I know I sound like a broken record. I said this before the game yesterday, I said it after the game. They will draw an awful lot of games this year, and I think we will win some of the games that they'll draw. So we might not even need to beat Livingston this year to do what we want to do.
I mean, Dougie, what did you make of the kind of tactical battle going on in the park yesterday?
I think you've got to give all the credit. They didn't let us play our normal game. We just never looked comfortable yesterday at all. There was too many wayward passes from us yesterday as well, and just we seemed to try and get over the top of them because we knew we couldn't beat them in the air. So it was kind of the long ball over the top of them for me sometimes yesterday. We just didn't even get a chance to stamp our authority on the game yesterday.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? And I think it's good to give Martindale's credit for getting it 100% right with his tactics.
Yeah, like I said, I think if Gary Oliver had played yesterday as that false nine, we'd had no other option but to play the way we play, which we've seen in since the start of the season, utilising Ross, utilising Miller down the wings. But we just sunk down to their level, and that's no disrespect to Livy, because I thought, like you say, Dougie, I think Martindale got his tactics spot on. He knew how to play the game. He saw what it did at the Falkirk Stadium, and again that finished a 0-0 because they suppressed us physically. The difference in this game is they had that moment of quality as well. A player that I think, I was worried about when I spoke about it last week is Tete, who came up with a moment of quality. I thought actually Adams did very, very well against him. I mean, the boy is 6'5", and you can see from the goal, Dylan Tate fanning about a wee bit at the back, but Tete just comes on, nudges him off, uses that physicality, nudges Tate off the ball, gets the ball, and it was a super strike. I don't think Nicky had any chance for that, Ross.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't at all from a finish. It was a fantastic strike, to be fair. But as you said, it was our own downfall, really. It looked worse in live action at our angle. I thought Dylan had tried to take too much time on the ball, but listen, the physicality of the big lad has just literally barged Dylan out the way. So I watched it 2 or 3 times on the highlights. That's what's won him the ball back, is his physicality, and it was like a grown man versus a small child taking the ball off him, and he's hit a wonder goal. That's his first goal of the season. That's why the game finished 1-0 yesterday. As them stopping our chances being created and them having a wonder strike.
Yeah, but we didn't create anything yesterday, Dougie, did we?
No, we didn't. That was the thing. The forward playing yesterday was just probably the worst I've seen in a long time from us. It was just, even when Ethan and Calvin got the ball, there was just nothing coming from them. There was times where they were basically the only one who was up front because there was that much of a gap yesterday. I wasn't surprised that Ross came back in, that McKeever came back in instead of Guy, because of the physicality of Livingston. I thought that would actually happen. Let's be honest with you.
Yeah.
But we just didn't create yesterday. Just the midfield didn't get in about them as much as they did. They had everything they wanted to do. I don't know. It was just a midfield game yesterday. You know what I mean? The game went between 18-yard boxes yesterday.
I thought Pittman was very good for them yesterday. I thought he controlled the midfield pretty much yesterday. I thought Brad and Tate were just not finding themselves in the positions they normally want to be in. There was a couple of occasions when Brad was dropping and trying to make things happen, but it just wasn't happening yesterday. Just like I say, Martindale got his tactics absolutely spot on. You know,
the guys never got any space at all, John. To play yesterday. Every time the ball came to Brad or Dylan,
and they were having that. It was forced, like you say, it was forced them to go along and find that ball into McKeever, and McKeever was having no chance against McGowan and Nottingham at the back. You know, two big boys. Not McGowan knows how to, you know, experienced centre half, Australian international. You know, a player you would love to see at your club, and he just knows how to play the game, and he played Ross really, really well yesterday. Unfortunately.
Do you know what didn't help us yesterday though? There was, and this is where I'm going to criticise the ref. There was moments where our midfield were bundled over or pushed over or challenged over, and there were fouls, and we didn't get anything. And then as soon as a Stevie May or a Pittman or whoever was bundled over, he was given a free kick. So he was really, really inconsistent yesterday.
The ref was terrible. It was the ref's Ian Snedden, because remember, I think he got Falkirk Daft maybe a couple of times last season. I think he managed the game against Annan and I think Ismail Montrose last season. I seem to remember, because I always remember, because obviously our club photographer Ian Snedden shares the name with him. I remember making a jibe about that, but he was terrible, wasn't he? He was rotten of a referee. And like you made a valid point, it's international weekend, Ross. I thought like you might get some of the top flight referees and some of the VARs dropping down into the championship to do that, as opposed to this absolute haddy that we had League One last year as well.
Yeah, this guy should not be reffing a championship game. He can't control it. He doesn't even communicate with the players. Look how often yesterday the players were trying to talk to him, and he was just putting his hand up like a really, really bad teacher.
I think at one point, and Aidan Nesbitt is not someone that is quite narky. We all know the narky players in our team, Dylan Tate being candidate number one in that, but Aidan was going mental at him at one point. Like, and Aidan's usually quite on the level, quite, you know, level-headed, but you could see at one point him just going mental at the ref.
Yeah, there was a time even in the first half that I seen it that the guy went into Dylan Tate, and it was like 5 yards in front of the referee. He had a great view of it, and his elbow was into Dylan Tate's back like that, like straight up, and pushed him straight down. Nothing at all. You know, come on now, play the game. And I actually think it didn't help Dylan, because I thought Dylan lost it in the game for about 10-15 minutes just for half time, just after we lost the goal.
Aye.
And when he got himself booked in that, and I actually thought maybe at half time that he might have been subbed off because his head just seemed to be gone.
I thought the exact same thing, Dougie. I turned to Ross, I said I'd actually think about putting Finn Yates on just now, because I think Dylan's going to get himself sent off here, just the way he was charging about the park yesterday. And obviously I think he had to be in his bonnet about, you know, being at fault for the goal as well. So I was slightly concerned about that. But I mean, I don't think it was the ref that lost us the game. I think he'd had some poor decisions from Livy's perspective as well. I just thought he was a really bad referee.
If you mind, just before half time, it was Dylan at the touchline got pulled blatantly back. Like we were on a breakaway, blatantly back, and he never booked the play for it. Now that's a booking straight away now if you pull somebody back. In the second half with Stevie May, deliberately stopped the play from continuing with a free kick.
Didn't get
and
it.
They just let it go as well.
Yeah.
Stevie May must have committed about 6-7 fouls in the game and never once even got looked to get booked. You know,
so inconsistent, Dougie. So inconsistent. And that was my point. He wasn't doing the same things for both teams. So to me, like, there was people calling him a cheat and stuff. And I can understand why, because he was doing the opposite for us. The other thing that ripped my knitting is we obviously like to keep the ball going, quick free kicks. He stopped every single quick free kick yesterday to write in his little black book, which seemed to take 30 seconds minimum, regardless of what he was writing down. And you're like, come on, mate. This is not good football. Like, you saw a brilliant ref. Maybe remember we had Nick Walsh a month ago, I think it was. I can't remember. It might have been Livy at home, actually, or it might have been another game. But we had Nick Walsh, and what a difference like having a proper official does to the football game.
I think he was writing. I think he was writing some jokes for his stand-up routine because the boy was clearly a comedian. Like, I mean, it just had it horrendous. Because, sorry, Dougie, what were you saying?
Yeah, I don't know if you've noticed it as well. There was at one point we had a free kick. I mean, you see a referee try to get in a position for a free kick being taken. They usually run into that position. This guy was just walking along. I'm like, move your butt. You know what I mean? Get on with the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Just slowing the game down here.
That's what he did.
But like you say, it wasn't him that lost us the game yesterday. It was I think John McGuinn will look back at that and there should have been some learns, I think, from the last Livingston game because it was a pretty much identical performance from Livingston. But
it was a wonder strike, John.
It was a wonder strike, and that's like I say.
Wonder strike.
One moment of quality. See, it could have bent the other way as well. Just one moment of quality, one mistake from us, and one moment of quality from us, and would have won the game as well. But it just wasn't there for us yesterday. I mean, like you say, the chances, they absolutely limited the amount of chances. We couldn't get the ball wide, and I don't know what was going on with the corners yesterday. Now, you know, I'm not the greatest fan of the short corner, but if there was any game that was crying out for short corners and smart routines, it was yesterday. But every time yesterday, I don't know why, because we've used short corners throughout the season, and I've heard about it so many times from Josh and Falkirk TV having a go at me because I was always against it. But if there's any game you've got to do a short corner routine, it's against Livingston. Finding those little pockets of space and not just launching balls into the box, because it was just, you know, it was bread and butter. They just did, like the Nottingham, the big players, Yengi, who was in there, 6'5", just knocking them away from fun, you know, and just dealing with it.
Their keeper came and caught the ball 3 or 4 corners as well. Right? The keeper was not the biggest keeper in the world, but he was unnerved to come out and catch this because, do you know why? Because he knew the defence would clear it if he didn't come and catch it anyway. And I agree with you. I thought I was really, really pissed off with the corner routine yesterday because I didn't think we were creative enough with them, and it was weird that we weren't. Like, I don't know what conversations have taken place during the week ahead of yesterday, but it didn't feel like that was our normal game.
No, it didn't. I mean, there was very little quality from us. I mean, like I say, just lumping balls. Well, it wasn't lumping. I mean, but there was obviously Hendo. It loves a big diag or, you know, a big ball into feet and stuff like that. And Hendo tried that so many times, but Livingston just dealt with it every single time with their physicality. And it just wasn't happening. See, the next time we play them, there would be a temptation, and it depends if everyone's fit, is putting Hendo into midfield and using his physicality in midfield, and, you know, hopefully Call or you know, Tom's back by that point, and then bringing them at centre back and then pushing Hendo one forward into that midfield and dealing with the physicality that they have, because I think that would be really helpful for us. And, you know, and like I say, if Gary is fit enough to play, having him in false nine and not giving the defenders that option to just lump it forward to Ross, because Ross, I mean, that was his kind of, you know, his first start in a long time yesterday, and it's a horrible game to be playing in, you know, because Ross is big and physical and great, and, you know, he's not for a boy that's not massive. We all can tell his qualities in there in terms of his leap and stuff, but he just, against those two centre halves, as I say, he's just not going to have any change in them.
Do you know whose physicality I think would have been helpful yesterday a lot earlier than it was Alfie? I thought,
do you know what? It's a very good
one. Less than 5 minutes to go. I didn't see the point. He should have been on when the subs were made with Callum coming on
and take it. I mean, because Ethan, you know, he had one little kind of gliding run, and, you know, he was able to feed in Nezzy for a cross. But like Ethan and I don't think Calvin got really going yesterday either. You know, it's there, and like you say, we usually will sit and talk about chances and stuff at this part, but there was nothing to talk about. The one chance I could, which was the best chance, we mentioned Dylan Tate's chance, which went straight to the goalkeeper from a throw-in, but big Luke Graham striding forward and smashing that ball.
Didn't miss by much at all.
Didn't miss by much. What a good
man is absolute quality.
He was, by the way, outstanding yesterday.
Yeah.
I thought...
He has been getting looked at a Scotland under 21 cap. He's outstanding.
Yeah,
him and Keelan surely must be getting looked at for the under 21s.
Keelan doesn't qualify.
Keelan's too old now.
Keelan's
sorry,
too old.
You're right. He should be getting looked at from a a Scotland.
He'll be a Scotland international. He'll be a full international. He is unbelievable. His physicality, his strength. He dealt with everything. There was just some bits, it was balls over the top, and he just hooked them away, stretched out foot. Everything he dealt with. He is an unbelievable centre half. I wish he was ours, but as I keep saying, and if Dundee have got better centre halves than him, Jesus, they must be really good at the back, because he is unbelievable. What a player! What a player!
By the way, I'm going to say something controversial here. I know you guys won't like this. I'm no lover of Alfie, Captain Chaos.
Do you not think yesterday though, Dougie, because his strength and keeping the ball, and I think that was a game for him yesterday. I think because John's right, Ethan and Calvin weren't having a great game. I would have subbed the two of them. I wouldn't have moved Calvin over to the left-hand side. I would have put Alfie over there at the same time as Callum coming on. And know that Callum's the biggest upper body, but he is strong when he's pacey. But Alfie, I just think would have been a better fit against that back four yesterday.
It's not for me, Ross. There's just too many times that, like you say, the Captain Chaos is right. That's Alfie. You just don't know what he's going to do with the next with the ball. Sometimes I just feel, nah. He set it off last season brilliantly, then he got injured and never got back in the team really. And I've just never seen the spark coming back from him again. It's maybe just a personal opinion, but you know what I mean. Everybody's got their own opinions, and that's mine. Alfie, I just don't see the likeliness in him, and I wouldn't be surprised if he actually goes out on loan in January to get regular game time.
I think we need an option like Alfie. I really do. I think, like Ross said, for his physicality, and when you're needing that. Legs at the end of the game, Alfie will run and he'll press and he'll just, like we've always said, he'll just bring something that no other player in Falkirk brings, is just that absolute, who knows what he's going to do. I don't think he'll go out alone. Whether he gets his deal renewed for next season is a different thing. I love the big guy. I think he's a great option off the bench. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. But yeah, very few and far chances to talk about. Livingston ran out ultimately 1-0 winners. So let's hear what the boss had to say.
Yeah, obviously you're always disappointed when you lose a game. We didn't compete well enough in the first half. Livingston competed much more aggressively than us. The goal that separates us is probably the one proper goal attempt in the game. It's a really good strike. We lose possession deep in our own half, and the guy hits it very, very quickly. The way Young gets it very quickly. We've not really got a chance to recover from that moment with the ball getting a really good strike. Nicky couldn't save it. We did a better second half. We competed better second half. There was a bit of a stalemate. It was a bit of, neither goalkeeper had an awful lot to do in the game, very similar to the last game that we played. Both teams kind of cancelling each other out, It's just one bit of brilliance has meant that Livingston, take the points. So we are disappointed, obviously. We're used to winning, and it's only our second defeat in about 52 league games, so, but defeat still tastes as horrible as it did, whenever you lose a game. So yeah, we're disappointed. We need to learn from that we need to start games better. We have to recognise how the game's getting played, and sometimes we don't get allowed to play the way that we want to play, and Livingston knocked us off their stride, and they were much more aggressive, and as I say, we competed better second half. A couple of moments that might have turned things, but not really enough, no.
Yeah, I think we did compete better the second half, but it wasn't up to anywhere near the levels I don't think John would have wanted. But as he said, 2 defeats in 52. I mean, that's unbelievable in the league.
I think in this league you can have 5 defeats and still win the league. You know what I mean? So we've got another 3 in us to still win the league. And as Ross says, and I agree with him, I think Livingston they're going to score a lot of goals. They're not going to concede a lot of goals, but they're not going to score a lot. So they will probably draw a lot more than what they win.
I think when they
face, team want to win games.
They face, and I'm not going to put. I mean, because there's some decent footballing teams in this league, but let's just say Wraith Rovers, for example, who I don't think, maybe I'm doing them a disservice. I think they're not the ball playing side that maybe we are, and then some of the other teams in the division. But they'll drop points away like Starks Park and places like that. You know, I do think that, like Ross says, I think they'll drop more points than we will. But then you see, I think Thistle starting to motor a bit. We saw the result against Hamilton as well yesterday. The league, and I kept saying, and this is why I keep saying, put your feet on the ground at Ross Wayne and the Wayne train, winning the league train. You've got to keep our feet on the ground. What's that? Yeah, because no league is won in November, and this is what we've got. And the people are getting carried away. We had John McGuinn even jumping on the Wayne train this week as well, daring to dream.
Oh,
now,
Cameron jump on that yesterday.
Yeah, you can dare to dream, but like sometimes you've got to face the reality, and the reality is it's November. Right, we're still top of the league. We're 3 points good. We would have taken that. Obviously, it's unbelievable where we are, right? Because we should be, you know, from our League One side going up into the Championship, we're bobbling about that mid-table. You know, that was the kind of hope that I had at this point. We find ourselves 3 points clear at the top of the league, but no league is won in November, and we've got to remember that. It's a long slog. There's some tough games, like I say, Thistle starting to motor. Dunfermline, if what happens in January with the takeover, they'll start to get involved in it. You know, they won't be involved in any title, but they'll take points off people. They will take points off people, right?
Won't take points off us.
That bold step. But you've got to keep your feet on the ground. It is only November, and we've got to realise that as Falkirk supporters, because you know. What we're doing just now is extraordinary, and what we can't let happen is suddenly, if we, for example, go to Hampden on Friday night and we don't get a result there, we start getting on the team's back. We can't let that happen.
I don't think that's going to happen.
We're punching above and beyond where we're at. Oh, Ross, of course it's going to happen. You already heard grumble. Like, there was people behind us grumbling yesterday and that sort of stuff.
I never heard any grumblings yesterday. At full time, there was no booing or
no, there wasn't. There wasn't. What I'm saying is, feet on the ground. We really need to keep our feet on the ground with this stuff.
Well, I totally agree with you. It's November. Listen, no, even if we'd won yesterday, no one would have been. I know
you were getting the t-shirts printed up after yesterday for 9 points. What are you talking about?
I'm clearly joking. Wait, let me just cancel the t-shirt order. But no, listen, there's a long way to go. And you're right. Some of the smaller teams or poorer teams like your Wraith, like your Dunfermline, they will take points off other teams in the league this year, and it will help the team, us and the teams around us, right? However, if we can get back, and we will, because we've proven, like after the whole Wraith defeat, the chat was, oh, how are we going to react? Well, we reacted by winning and not losing another 6 or 7 games on the bounce. So we'll do that again. We'll start again and we'll go again.
Yeah. I think Friday night as well was a total different game. I sat at
absolutely.
Yeah, I sat at Hampden Friday night. I was behind the goals, and I said to Dylan, my laddie, look at the space that's there, the wideness of that pitch. Our wingers will absolutely thrive on that pitch on Friday night.
Yeah.
I mean, the wideness of that pitch is going to suit us down to the ground.
Well, let's not forget that our pitch is the same size exactly as Hampden. That's the point. That was why it was made. So our pitch is exactly the same. So you're right, Dougie. Their players will thrive on that, and I'm sure it'll be a decent surface, grass surface as well. Come next Friday night, and it will be like Queen's Park will try and play football as well.
Yeah, we saw that.
We saw that. And for me, they are the best footballing team we've faced this season so far as well.
Yeah, well, let's see what you guys thought on the game. JB kicks us off. Couldn't handle their physicality, stopped us playing out well, and dominated in midfield for large parts. For how well they played and poor we played, it still took an absolute screamer to beat us. The only positive, that is, I'm going to do that all game, JB, because I've made it. I will have to reread all this, right? JB says, couldn't handle their physicality. They stopped us playing out well and dominated in midfield for large parts. For all how well they played and poor we played, it still took an absolute screamer to beat us. That is the only positive. There we go. Thanks for that, Jamie.
Falkirk Daft, Falkirk District, Tartan Army. This week's Dafty goes to Ian Snedden. Absolutely horrendous referee.
We're just clarifying that's the referee, not the photographer, yeah?
Indeed, that's right.
Yeah. Paul says, muscled off the park today, didn't get many chances. They're a very physical side. A side of things we need to work on. The ref was a nightmare and let a lot of stuff go unpunished. Glad he finally booked their keeper for time wasting. Still positive, we are top of the league.
Callum, and I actually quite agree with him, he keeps it simple, bitched all over the pitch.
We were. No denying that. Derek says, terrible performance, should never have altered the system. Went there and laid down to Livy's hoofball tactics. Lack of fight from the midfield, not physical enough, and I won't even mention the man in black. What a criminal.
Indeed. Linda says, expected a physical game, but we were awful and outmuscled, booted for the full 90. Livy had our number, and a decent strike was the difference. We either play to our strengths or adapt, and we didn't do either, unfortunately. No point going on about the ref. We all know he has previous. Next.
Yeah, and Grant finishes off on a positive note. I'd highly recommend the steak and bucky pies. There you go. I didn't try one. I do like a bucky as well. I didn't try one. I just went for a Scotch pie yesterday. £3.50 by the way on Pie Watch. So just FYI, same price as what we have. £3.50 for a steak pie, a Scotch pie. Sorry. So there you go. Right. Okay. Let's get into it. Then Falkirk Daft rated. Ross, come to you first.
Quite easy for how he performed, and he obviously nearly got us a point as well. So I'm going to go for Mr. Luke Graham.
Dougie.
I'll second that. Luke Graham was my man in the match yesterday. I thought he handled them very, very well. That was probably the most physical team he's come up against, and I thought he handled it brilliantly yesterday. Really did.
Aye, hat trick for Luke Graham for me. Falkirk Daft rated is Luke Graham. Who is the Dafty?
We know he's not cost us the game, but it was infuriating all game. So I'm going to go Ian Snedden, referee.
Do you?
See, there was something happened right towards the end of the game. I don't know if you would have seen it with Brad Spencer right at the halfway line.
There was a bit of needle, aye.
Aye, it just went down so limply, and I was actually embarrassed for Brad. I hate diving, and I felt it really went down really badly to try and get a guy sent off. So I want to give it to Brad for that. As much as I love the guy as a player.
I never saw that.
The guy got booked for it. Aye, the guy got booked for it. Yeah. There you go. Wow. Oh God, I was going to say John McGlynn for that interview for the BBC during the week, but I'll go Ian Snedden because I thought he was he's a terrible referee, absolutely terrible referee. So Ian Snedden gets it from yesterday. There we go, Ian Snedden. I think that's the second time he's won Falkirk Daft as well. Well done, Ian. Right, okay, that's about a bow tied on this part of the show. But before we go, Dougie, let's see if you can play Falkirk Daft versus and take down Ross Wayne. I'm in control of the questions this week. So 5 questions at the penalty shootout style quiz. You against Ross on your Falkirk knowledge. Ross is going to write down his answer. I need you to give me your answer once he has written his down. Dougie, are you ready to play?
Yeah, let's go for it.
It's 10-1. I believe it's 10-1 to the Falkirk Daft boys, and I'm the only one that's had a defeat so far. So let's see how we get on today. Right, okay, first question. How many spells did Crunchy have at Falkirk? How many spells did Crunchy have at Falkirk? Ross will write down his answer. Dougie, you just give it to me when you're ready.
Okay, I've written some down.
I reckon 4.
4, Ross.
I went with 4 as well.
It is 3. Oh, hold on.
I'm going to challenge this one, John Boy.
There's a challenge, there is a pack.
So we obviously had him initially. He then came back on loan from Chelsea in the 80s.
I will look at it as the Wikipedia because this is where I got it from.
So he came back on loan and then he signed him in the 90s and then we signed him again in the late 90s. 97.
So according to his Wikipedia, yeah, you're right. Sorry, I've missed one. It is 4. It is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well done. Point each. Well done.
New Falkirk Dafty, I think.
Yeah. I also thought I should probably nominate my Falkirk Dafty for running for that train, as we saw in the vlog as well. Oh, yes. Right, okay, so well done, point each. Sorry, my apologies for that. Who scored the winning goal in the 57 Cup final replay? Who scored the winning goal in the 1957 Cup final replay? Who was the winner that day?
Right, I've got something written down.
Dougie, you got an answer?
It's an absolute guess. Dougie Moran.
Dougie Moran says Dougie.
I went with Merchant, which I think might be wrong.
One is right. And that person is Dougie, his namesake, Dougie Moran, scored the winner in the 57 Cup replay. So there we go, 2-1 to Dougie. Right, next question, question number 3. Former Falkirk player James Cunning is the lead singer of which Scottish band? Former Falkirk player James Cunning is the lead singer of which Scottish band?
I can't remember, but I'm just going to take a punt. I'll write something down. I'm going to kick myself, though.
Do you got anything?
I'm going to go with Rest, but I know it's wrong. I have no idea.
Right. Ross?
I don't think it's right either. I went with The View.
That's Kyle Faulkner, mate.
Right.
Las Vegas. James Allen. He goes under the names James Allen now. We used to obviously play Falkirk. We did back in the day. Well, here's me name dropping again. But James came in for a session at XFM where I was working at the time, and I had a real good crack on about the Falkirk, about Falkirk and football in general. And like he's like you said, that Neil Berry, because he was like round that checkered boot strip time, so he was like, Neil Berry was a great lad, and you know he worked under Alex Todd and he got freed at the end of it, but he said, you know, it was you know, really enjoyed his time at the club and stuff. I think he went on to have he went on to Albion Rovers and stuff like that. But yeah, he played 2 games for Falkirk back in the day, so, and he was on YTS at Falkirk. So there you go, James Allen, lead singer of Las Vegas, used to play for Falkirk. You can take that one to the bank. Right, okay, still 2-1 to Dougie then. Right, 3 Australians have played for Falkirk. Can you name one? This is a dead easy question. 3 Australians played for Falkirk. Can you name one of them?
Right, I'm just writing mine down now.
Dougie, you got anyone?
Danny McBreen.
Danny McBreen. Ross, what have you written down?
I went with Carl Dodd.
You've went with Carl Dodd, and you just went showed off there because Danny McBreen's the obvious answer, Ross. Can you name the 3rd Australian that's played for Falkirk?
Yeah.
He was a right back.
No, he was a goalkeeper.
You're right.
Ginger hair boy, forgot his name. Don't tell me.
You're not getting a bonus point, Ross.
You don't get a bonus point. It's just for fun now.
All right. No, I can't think.
Scott Higgins.
Scott Higgins. Right. There we go.
Right. It's on you now. This is it. Final question. If you both get this right, Dougie, you win.
No pressure.
Ross, you're playing for the tie break here. Final question. Who was the last player to leave Falkirk for Rangers? Who was the last player to leave Falkirk for Rangers?
I think I know this, Ross.
I think I know it as well, but surely there's been someone since then.
No pressure. Under pressure.
There's probably been someone since, but I've got to write down an answer.
I'll keep it too confident here, Ross. You
I'll
never know.
probably end up kicking myself here. Okay, right. What's that written down?
Right, okay, Ross, what have you got written down?
I went with Alan Gow.
That's what I was going to say. That's definitely 100%.
Oh, I fucked that up. I should have asked Dougie for his answer first. But I think I believe him. I believe him.
Wait, no. They can't do that.
No.
You can't do
Ross, you lost the straws. You can see how confident I was here. Come on.
Yes, absolutely. Alan Gow is the right answer. And Dougie, you win. You've taken the second point for the listeners. 10-2. There you go.
Yes.
Listen, put an asterisk beside that one.
No chance.
Brilliant.
It's like Wraith Rovers' tainted title a few years back.
Well done, Dougie. Well done.
I'm taking the win, big style.
Fantastic. Dougie Moran was a very good answer. He pulled that one out, so fair play to you. Fair play
I don't know where that came from, by the way. I really don't.
Impressive. Right, Dougie, thanks so much for coming on the podcast this week. Really appreciate your time. If you want to be our guest pundit, just like Dougie has, please drop us an email, pundit@falkirkdaft.co.uk, or slide into our DMs like a long-lost lover on Twitter or Facebook.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall, we're navy blue. Are you?
Every week in Falkirk Daft, we look ahead to our next game, and it is box office Bairns yet again as we face Queen's Park at Hampden this Friday evening. And on from Spider's Talk podcast, the talk is through Queen's Park. It's Enzo. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. It's nice to see you guys again. I know the last time we spoke was before the Challenge Cup game last season when you were all
yeah.
in a pretty good run of form, and unfortunately we were in the middle of, I think, a 5-month stretch without a single win in any competition. So hopefully I'm feeling a wee bit better going into it than I was that time, put it that way.
He's certainly on a decent run of form, Enzo, and you're in the kind of just outside the playoffs at the moment, with Thistle just getting that win against Hamilton yesterday. How have Queen's Park been this season? Because I was certainly impressed by you guys when you came to the stadium, albeit that Falkirk won on the day, but I think our manager, our players have all come out and said you're the best team we've come up against in the league this season.
Well, I mean, it's interesting that you should say that, because I actually thought that was one of our poorer performances of the season.
Oh, wow.
That first game against Falkirk, we didn't have a settled defence yet that day, which I think was pretty noticeable, because the goals we conceded were, the defending was stinking for them. And I think since then we've brought in a couple of centre halves, because I'm fairly certain we started that day with a guy who hadn't played football in 7 months and a central midfielder as our back two. So that's obviously going to cause you problems. Luckily, we've brought in Dane Murray from Celtic on loan, who's been fantastic. He's a really solid young defender. Plays for Scotland under 21s as well. He looks really, really good. And I wouldn't be too shocked if, to be honest with you, Celtic recall him in January and send him to play at a higher level. And then on top of that, we've got young Will Tizard, who we signed at the start of last season, but was being asked to play all the wrong way last year under our Dutch team of management who were just adamant that we had to pass the ball out from the back. All kind of similar to what Airdrie are doing right now, if you ask me. It's a very kind of similar set of circumstances. But yeah, I think for the most part we're okay. We're probably doing a little bit better overall than what I was anticipating before the season started. Don't score too many goals. We've only scored more than a single goal, I think. Well, yesterday would have been the 4th time this season actually, but obviously we didn't come away with any points in the end. We're all right, I think. I think where we are is roughly where we probably will finish. I think, come the end of the season, we'll probably be looking at about 5th or 6th, if I'm being realistic.
Really? I thought you'd be maybe around there or thereabouts around the playoff kind of situation.
It's not impossible. If we go in a good run of form and we start picking up points where we need to, the issue is you look at the games that we've played so far. So we've played against you guys once, we've played Thistle twice, Livy twice, and now Ayr twice. We've drawn 3 of those games and lost the rest, so we're really struggling when it comes to the other sides at the top end of the table. We're consistently picking points up against Dunfermline, Morton, Airdrie, sides like that, and that's good, because that'll obviously that's what's going to keep us away from being dragged into anything at the wrong end of the table come the end of the season. But I think we are a pretty middle of the road side. It's not impossible that we could kick on and potentially finish 4th if things go well, but I wouldn't be putting any money on it, but that's all right. Before the season started, I'd have bit your hand off for 8th, so I'm pretty pleased with how things are going overall.
Enzo, see, just as obviously John made mention, whenever you do talk to other Bairns fans about the sort of best team that we have faced. Now, granted, we've obviously just lost to Livy. We got beat off Wraith a month ago, but that night against Queen's Park, I personally think, from a football perspective, granted you were depleted that night as you just mentioned, but actually you looked to play football, and there's not many teams in this division that I've seen so far that actually want to do that. So there was yourselves, Thistle actually had played some good stuff. That's probably been about it. The rest of the teams are all been much of a muchness in terms of being really direct, and not being that successful at it. So from Friday night's perspective, obviously the big pitch at Hampden, not too dissimilar to the Falkirk Stadium size-wise. I expect to see quite a good football game. Is that sort of what you've got in your head as well?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if, as you say, 2 sides that want to knock it about and have the players to do that well. We don't, I think you'll probably find if you go back and look at the highlights from some of our games, when we struggle, it's when we do resort to trying to play a long ball style of football. And Callum Davison has come out and said in interviews, I've asked them not to do that. And sometimes I think we do still have quite a young squad. I know you guys do as well. and I think sometimes when they're under a wee bit of pressure, they sort of forget what they're good at and do start lumping it forward. And unfortunately, I don't really think we've got the players to get on the end of that. Zach Rudden, he's been fantastic for us. I know you know Rudden well, obviously. He had a decent spell at Falkirk a bit earlier on in his career. It's pretty incredible that he's still only, 23, 24, because it feels as though he's been around for about 20 something like that. But I've been impressed with Rudden. He's done well, but again, we're playing him up front on his own for the most part. And if you lump the ball up to him, he's not really. If he wins it, he's then just probably going to lose the ball. He's not the kind of guy that's going to win too many headers, bring the ball down, and then set it up for the other guys around him. He needs the ball to be played in at his feet, and what he's really good at, and what we found success with Rudden is when you play the ball through to him by playing that nice passing style of football that we are capable of, and then he drags the defenders away, making room for the other guys around him like Dom Thomas, Jack Turner, Ryan Duncan, these good other attacking options that we've got that aren't out and out strikers like Zach.
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised, obviously, when Zach was with us, he was a real good goal scorer and scored loads of goals for us. So when I was looking down at the table, Enzo, and seeing that you guys, like you said earlier, have only scored 16 goals this season, it really surprised me.
Yeah, and I think he scored 4 of them, to be fair. And he's also been, I would say, over the past month, realistically, our best player. He's just involved in absolutely everything, creates so much threat, and he's a nuisance for the opposition defenders. Unfortunately, he was out yesterday, which was a pretty significant issue. And in my opinion, I think Davidson actually got his selection wrong yesterday. Without Rudden, what he's done is he's tried to bring in. We've got a young boy called Liam McLeish, came through the youth academy. You put him in a reserve or under 21, under 19s. I'm not entirely sure how the system works these days, and he'll bang 4 or 5 goals in a game. But he's not quite found his feet when it comes to first team football, and he's certainly not the same kind of player as Zach. So we did miss him yesterday. I don't know whether he'll be back by Friday night. Callum Davidson said in his interview prior to the game that there was a bit of a bug going around the squad, so I'm hoping it was just a wee bit of illness, and he'll be available for the game on Friday. But yeah, we don't score too many goals. We also, for the most part, don't concede too many goals. I know we conceded 3 yesterday, but we're generally pretty solid at the back, which is how. And I think maybe this is a bit of a cliche, but I think Davidson as a manager probably had a reputation for playing a sort of tight style of football where his team didn't score many but also didn't concede many, and that's something that he's shown this group of players that they're capable of, because last season our defence was horrific, and we've still got a few of the guys there, the same goalkeeper, some of the same centre halves, the same left back initially at the start of the season, although he's now been replaced by a young boy who's come in and has been keeping Josh Scott out of the team. But yeah, we tend to grind results out. We don't go out and hammer them. We've not done that yet this year.
So, I mean, I think that obviously the Hampden pitch it feeds into Falkirk style of play as well with our wingers. We're just talking about that it's the same. That what am I the words I'm looking for? Yes. It's the same size. I was going to try to use a fancier word than that, but it's the same size as the Falkirk pitch, so it's certainly going to, and it's obviously a very good surface as well. Have you found playing because obviously there's been the whole thing about Lesser Hampden, Main Hampden. Has it been a big benefit being back on the Hampden part this season?
I mean, listen, I could talk about this for hours, so I'm not going to into too much detail. It's a long and frustrating conversation to have. I think, as far as I'm aware, the pitch dimensions at Lesser Hampden are the same as the pitch dimensions at Hampden. I think it was modelled to be the same because obviously they knew that the team would either be training at Lesser or potentially playing some games there. I don't know the full story. Hampden itself, obviously, I'm of the belief that sometimes it's actually a hindrance to us, and the reason for that is that fans come to Hampden and teams come to Hampden, and because of the associations of coming to the National Stadium, unless you're in the same league as us and we're playing there, you're only really going there for big days out, cup semi-finals, cup finals, and things like that. And I think that kind of plays. I think that plays into it. But the thing is, and this is a conversation I've had with people this season, and it was really bad last season. Our home form was shocking last season. I think if you look at the Championship home and away tables from last season, I think our home form was the worst in the division, but our away form was the second best in the whole division. So that was pretty shocking. It's improved this year. We are a bit better at home this season, fortunately. But the thing is, even when I go back to when we were in League Two and League One, we had teams that were, that made Hampden a bit of a fortress. So I don't see why that's not possible even at this level. It should be. I don't think, I wouldn't say it's a benefit to us, no. And obviously there's other issues with Hampden. It's a bit soulless, let's be honest, when you get 1,500 people watching a game of football in a stadium that holds 50 odd thousand. I would imagine the crowd will be a wee bit bigger with good travelling support on Friday night. But I don't love playing there, put it that way.
Yeah.
I think that is a concern for. I think that's a concern for probably most teams that will go there in the Championship or indeed in the Premier League as well. Because let's face it, it's not as if all 12 Premier League teams carry like thousands of fans either. Like with the exception of 4 or 5 teams, like your Kellys, your Ross County, that's 1,000 to 1,500. Probably not too dissimilar to what we'll have on Friday night. I think with it being on TV, Enzo, I think it might hit our travelling crowd a wee bit.
Yeah, of course, especially this time of year and stuff as well.
Yeah, yeah. But I think there'll probably be 1,500 Falkirk fans there on Friday night. But it's a weird one for the players. Like, it must be very strange to think, I'm playing at Hampden, but then it's a different Hampden experience, isn't it?
Yeah. And I know that this season, what we've done, and I think this is a step in the right direction, actually. So last season, the dressing rooms and stuff were completely untouched. So it was just the standard stuff from Scotland or there, or when there's a cup semi-final or final there. I know that this season, when we're playing at home, there is actually a lot of Queen's Park branding up to try and get the players into the mindset that this is our home. People are coming here, and it's our job to take care of them. This is our turf, and to try and get that sense of a home whilst playing, because I think that probably was really difficult last season.
It did. I mean, from a Falkirk's perspective, you mentioned Zach Rudden. Cammy Kerr's been outstanding for you this season, and Dom Thomas is obviously, he scored that absolute, probably one of the goal of the season contenders against us in the first game of the season. Is there anyone else we should really be looking out for, Enzo?
Yeah, I mean, so Dom's actually been injured for the best part. I think he's been injured for about 5 or 6 weeks.
It doesn't look like he'll play on Friday.
No, he did. He came back yesterday.
Damn it!
He came back yesterday. He looked a bit tired, so he came off earlier than what he usually would. But I'm hoping, he should be all right for Friday, given that he was yesterday. Defensively, we've got a young left back his name's Henry Fieldson. So he was initially signed as a centre half. He's only, I think, 19 years old, and he came through one of the youth academies down south, Sunderland, I believe. And we've had a lot of young boys from down south who've turned out to just be nowhere near good enough because they haven't played adult football yet. I can't say I was overly excited by the signing, but Fieldson came in. He played a few games at centre half, was absolutely brilliant. He looked as though he was 10 years older and had been playing in the Championship his entire career. And he's since moved into left back, a position which apparently he'd never played before this season. But I think he's really, really good. The other player who's been scoring a lot of goals for us this season is Jack Turner. The Turner's a sort of, I would say he'll play through the middle behind Rudden, and you give him half a chance, he will take it. He's a brilliant finisher. I've personally said before that I wouldn't, if it came to it, because we don't have too many strikers. I've said before, if it came to it, I wouldn't actually mind seeing him playing up front outright. I think he's got that capability to put the ball in the net, and honestly, if he can do that, then everything else doesn't really matter quite so much. The only thing about Turner though is he hasn't actually been starting games over the past couple of weeks, but he's come off the bench and scored both weeks. So I think he really should be back in. With everyone fit, I'd be looking at a forward line of Rudden up front with Dom Thomas and probably Seb Dross, who's another young boy we signed from Millwall, out wide with Jack Turner behind him. But I think realistically, you'll probably see Ryan Duncan, who we've got on loan from Aberdeen. Davidson seems to be quite loyal to him. I'm not sure if there's... I don't know how... Sometimes clauses with these boys on loan that they have to play a certain number of minutes or whatever. Unfortunately, I've not been particularly impressed with Ryan Duncan. For a guy that's played about 50 odd games in the Premier League for Aberdeen, I don't think he's been that great for us, but I think you probably will see him. Sean Welsh has been brilliant for us as well, by a guy who is obviously, he's probably playing at the Championship because he's had a lot of bad injuries in his career. He every season he was at Inverness, he ended up out for at least a couple of months. Fortunately, since we signed him in January, I don't think he's missed a single minute through injury. So maybe his luck's turning. But Sean Welsh is another one that I think is a really, really solid player. And earlier on I mentioned Dane Murray, the young centre half we've got on loan from Celtic. He's been outstanding, absolutely outstanding.
You mentioned Sean Welsh. The usual fear creeps in that ex-Falkirk players coming in to score goals against the Zach Rudden and Sean probably more up for it than anyone else in this game. From a Queen's Park perspective, what have you made of Falkirk? Have you seen many of the games, or what players are you worried about coming up against?
Well, the thing is, I think, and I've said this, and I don't mean this in a kind of negative way towards Falkirk, because you're having a brilliant season. I think the thing that frightens me most about Falkirk is that you guys are playing with so much confidence right now, and it's not even necessarily about individual performers. I think you guys, based on, following on the ridiculous season that he's had last year and carrying it on into this year, and the fact that you've had to make some changes in your squad because of you have lost a few guys to injury as well. Everybody in this league does. To be fair, I feel as though you go into every game this season and every team saying, "Oh, we've got such and such out," and that's issues. But it's every single team, it seems to be, And I think what really concerns me is just that I worry that our heads can go down sometimes, and I think that you guys playing with that sort of confidence that you do could potentially take advantage. If you were to score an early-ish goal, I would not be feeling particularly optimistic about our chances coming back into the game. In terms of the players, obviously, I know that Keelan Adams is having a phenomenal season. He's quite frightening right now. Ethan Ross as well. Would you say he's been who would you say has been Falkirk's best player so far this season? Ross has got to be up there, surely.
It's a tough one, John, isn't it? Because we talk about this quite regularly, and it changes probably. But in terms of the form just now, Ethan Ross, he had a quieter game yesterday, but the last 5-6 games, Ethan Ross has been absolutely unplayable. So it probably goes through peaks and troughs, so John, doesn't it? In terms of who.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be interested to see. Actually, I wonder if he will make changes come Friday as well, just with the loss yesterday. But yeah, you could go through the side. I think Brad Spencer, I'd like to mention, I think we've talked about it several times on this podcast, that probably Spencer and Tate are the best midfield in this league, potentially. We've seen Pittman at Livingston, yes, again, we will know what kind of qualities he gives, but Brad Spencer, if he gets time and space, he can make things happen from deep, and him and Tate kind of rotate. But I would say, Brad Spencer. I mean, you mentioned Keelan Adams there has been unbelievable. A player from our perspective as well, who we've got on loan from Dundee, is a young lad called Luke Graham, who he's been unbelievably good, and he's coming for Cole Donaldson. But yeah, there's been some really good performances on their side. But yeah, Ethan Ross, I think, is definitely up there as being one of the best.
And you were saying there about ex players coming back to haunt you. When I was looking through the Falkirk squad, I don't think they're really. I think the only player there that's actually been at us in any capacity is Alfie Aguiman, but I don't know about the rest of them, to be honest. I don't think there's anybody else that's come
No, I don't think there is. I didn't realise, was Alfie on loan from Motherwell to you guys?
It was when he got released by Motherwell, when he was, I think he came back to 2020 potentially, when he initially left Motherwell. We picked him up and he was here for I think a year or so, and he struggled, wasn't really up to much, and I think we would have been in League 2 at that point as well. But obviously he was quite a young boy at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Just chaos. We could refer to him as Captain Chaos. Great impact sub, comes off the bench. No idea what he's going to do. He doesn't know either. It's brilliant, absolutely fantastic. But I agree. Listen. Looking forward to the game on Friday, Enzo. We couldn't go without getting a prediction from you. What are you thinking?
I mean, listen, I will never ever predict anything other than us to win. We could be playing Rangers at Ibrox tomorrow.
Rangers at Ibrox, you'd probably win anyway, mate.
Well, that's probably a bad example, actually. I think it will be a close game, and I think we'll nick it 2-1. I think Zach Rudden will be up for it, assuming he's back. I really do hope. If he's not back, then I think Falkirk will probably win quite comfortably, to be honest, unless Davidson has figured out another shape that he can play with the players that he's got available to him. But I'm hoping Rudden will be back, and I think he'll be quite. He seems to be quite up for it when he plays against his former teams. And obviously Falkirk is among that list. He's probably in about 8 or 9 teams already in his career.
It's unbelievable when you say that, because he is, like you say, I can't believe that Rudden's still like 24. That's mental for me, absolutely mental for me. He's been around so many clubs as well in that time. Ross, what are you thinking?
I'm going to sit similar to Enzo. I think it'll be a tight game, and I'm going to say the same scoreline from August. I'm going to say Falkirk 2-1.
I think we will want to bounce back after yesterday, and I do think both sides will want to play football, unlike Livingston. I think we might just have a bit too much. I thought Queens, again, were really impressed with them that day. And if what Enzo's saying, that they've got better since then, that was a poor performance, well, that worries me slightly. But I think just in terms of football, I think we probably just edge it in terms of the quality of footballers we have against Queens. So I would probably say 1-0 Falkirk on the Hampden pitch. I think that will suit us as well. So, but I think I genuinely think it'll be a really good game of football, and I'm really looking forward to watching it. I'm not making it through because I've got a work site out, unfortunately. So I'm going to try. I'm in Edinburgh, so I'm going to see if I can find somewhere to put it on the telly. I'm sure I will do. But I'm looking forward to it. Are you heading along, Enzo?
Yeah, I'll be there. I tend not to miss too many games, so I'm certainly not going to miss this one. I'm looking forward to it, but I think it's funny because despite the fact that we are having an alright season, I don't think I've actually got into too many games feeling overly confident. And it's because we're winning. When we do win, they're normally quite close games. So I wouldn't say I'm particularly confident, but I'm cautiously optimistic, I'd say.
Cautiously optimistic is always a good place to be. Brilliant. Listen, Enzo from the Spiders Talk podcast, thank you very much for joining us on Fakirk Daft.
Cheers, guys. It was nice to see you again.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall. Stay local, eat and drink global.
So that is it for Falkirk Daft. Thank you very much for listening or watching us, checking out our vlog. Wow, how good was that? And thanks very much for Spider for coming on. We really should, do you know what we should? We've done this the wrong way. We've done this arse to elbow, Ross, because we really should have had Spider on last week to give us a tip for the vlog before we did it. And then post match we're going, so yeah, what should we do? So we've made an absolute arse of that, was what we're saying right here. But thanks to Spider and Jack for popping on as well. And thanks very much to Enzo from the Spiders podcast for coming on and chatting about the game next week. And Dougie as well for being our guest pundit this week. Bad omen to get Dougie on. Don't book him again, Ross, because
do you know what's
2 losses on the spin he's been on talking about. Plus he beat you.
Well, do you know what's giving me the fear is so in April this year, next year, but this season, obviously I'm going to be in Florida for my daughter's cheer competition, as some people will know, and Dougie's daughter is in the same cheer squad. Right. So when I'm doing the podcast from Florida, which is my plan, I think I'll probably need to have Dougie there with me because he'll be there with me as well, won't he? Now, I hope he's on in the back of a win at that end of the season.
Yeah, listen, that tail end of the season, you could be missing some big games.
I've got the fear for it already. This is why we need to have the league wrapped up by February.
It's only November, Ross. I keep telling people, keep your feet on the ground. Jesus. That's but thank you very much for listening and doing all that. Remember, follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff, and buy merch. Christmas is coming up. You can get Falkirk Daft merch right now, merch.falkirkdaft.co.uk, or you can get it at Pints and Prints, not Pies and Prints, as I said earlier on. Pints and Prints. You can get a Falkirk 316 t-shirt, or you can get the Falkirk Daft, which Dougie was wearing on the podcast today. So get on board, get involved, and get your loved ones that fantastic Falkirk present they didn't know they wanted.
Black Friday offer coming soon, John.
There is a Black Friday offer coming up. On Black Friday, you get 30% off all Falkirk Daft merch. 30% off on Black Friday, all Falkirk Daft merch. So save that date in your diary and you can get loads of stuff from our spreadshirt shop, which is merch.falkirkdaft.co.uk. There we go. Before we get up the road though, we've got, of course, to finish up with the Gerard Ferner Roll of Honour. If you've made it to this point in the podcast, congratulations, well done, and you get your name mentioned right here. So we've got Campbell, Baba K, Bob Simpson, Ali, Elsa, Joe, Phil, Gary, Jamie, Neil, James, Craig, Ray, PGM, Paul, Dougie, Louise, Dale, and Kevin. And can I put a special mention to Grant, who I met in Tesco in Camelin the other day there when I was doing my food shop. The man came over to me, just shouted, whispered almost in a way like, Gerard Fellner. I was like, yes, you've made it to the end of the podcast. So shout out to Grant and his dad, who had a good crack on about the old Bairns. in Tesco. Grant was in my boat and his dad was on the Wayne train to promotion. So, yeah. So,
was it something acceptable you were buying in Tesco's, as in?
It was the big shop, mate. It was the big shop.
Right,
So it was
okay.
nothing
I wasn't
dodgy.
sure if you were buying one of those leopard print shirts that I know you love.
Yeah, no. It was. I think I met him round around the bakery aisle. I think I just put mince pies into my trolley because I love a mince pie. And it's that time of the season now. You know what I mean? Really nice puff pastry or mince pies. I've got them sitting downstairs, wee cup of tea tonight. Boom! Cannot wait for that. That's an insight into my life, everyone. The exciting life of John McInally. A mince pie and a cup of tea. We're rocking and rolling, everyone. Brilliant. If you want to be a guest pundit, please, like the guys, join us. John at falkirkdaft.co.uk, Ross at falkirkdaft.co.uk. Though Ross has booked us up just about till the end of the season now, haven't you?
Yeah, our next, let me just get the list up. So our next available pundit space, I think, is towards the end of the season, to be honest, buddy.
Wow.
It is. We are, I think almost every home game's taken, and vast majority of the away games as well. So, yeah, it's looking good.
Smashing. We'll do that. And join our Discord channel. We don't talk about the Discord channel enough. It's in the links below. If you've not been, it's like a big forum for Falkirk supporters, and a lot of chat goes on in there. A lot of scathing reviews of Livingston yesterday. But jump on the Discord channel, get involved, and we'll speak to you in there as well. And if you want to sponsor the show, as well as Behind the Wall and Falkirk Football Fans and Training, we've got episode sponsorship available. So if you've got a business you want mentioned on the show, we can do all your messaging, do all the plather. Offer, it's always good in podcasts. You get a wee podcast offer, we could do that as well. Please get in touch with us. sales@falkirkdaft.co.uk. That's sales@falkirkdaft.co.uk, and we'd love to have you on the podcast at some point. Right, so on to Hampden next. Friday night game under the floodlights of Hampden should be a cracker, and it's on the telly. The box office Bairns are back. Until that time, though,
big time expected, buddy. Come on to Bairns.
We're Falkirk Daft, talking about the dark blues and having a bit of a laugh. We're Falkirk Daft. You can listen in the pub or you can listen in the bath. We're Falkirk Daft. For everyone who's caring about being a Falkirk Bairn, we're Falkirk Daft. We are Falkirk Daft.
And if you made it this far to the end of the podcast, right after the jingle, you think we forgot about doing the player. Aha, we haven't. Tiago. If you've made it to this point, you've heard our song list there, our Falkirk Daft song, and you've made it to this point, Tiago is what you need to tweet us. So do that for next week. I don't think we're going to get many people, because I don't think anyone will listen beyond this point.
Interesting, eh?
People have seen it and went, oh, that's been a mistake. I'll just switch off when the jingle goes. But you've not made it to the end. Helmenji. Tiago. Oh.
This is Falkirk Daft.
With Behind the Wall and the Falkirk Football Fans in Training.